We have several opportunities available at several levels of the community here at Science Park. On one level, we have a summer educator fellowship, which is provided to K-12 teachers that gives them the opportunity to develop curricula that integrate science and career and technical education. Now, while students are here, they have the opportunity to utilize their current classroom knowledge and apply it in a laboratory setting. This helps to bridge the gap between what they're learning in school and the application of that knowledge in the real world, which most students are always questioning is, what does this have to do with me, and when will I ever use this information? Well, the high school research program and the undergraduate research program are a perfect opportunity for students to bridge that gap.
I started off my career in the medical field, working in doctor's offices. I worked in the hospital. I've always liked the medical setting, but I also worked for state agency as well for about 13 years. And in accounting, I was accounting specialist there for the Texas Department of Transportation. And then I got a job here at MD Anderson about 5 years ago, working in their community outreach and education program as a coordinator of their special programs. I have 2 young daughters, and at the time, my oldest daughter right now, she's a junior in high school, and right now her interest is in the science field. She wants to become a registered nurse. You know, once she goes off to college, that's her field that she would like to study, and I support her and I encourage her 100%. I would like to see, you know, more Hispanics, more black students apply for these type of internships. And I think that's one good thing about me working here, that I have an insight and I can see these things and try to push more for our minority students to apply for internships through our community outreach program.
I am a third-year graduate student at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. I got started in research probably at a very young age. My father was a hazmat specialist, and I was always doing science fair projects that involved, you know, what's the best material to pick up oil spills, and my parents always encouraged me to be very active in science and discovery. I also grew up around livestock, so I got to see a lot of really interesting things at a young age, like cows giving birth, horses giving birth. So science was always very natural for me and something I was really enjoyed. So I delved into research. I worked for Dr. Tom Welsh. He's an endocrinologist, and he also works in reproductive sciences. And I took a class from him. It was really difficult. I ended up with an A, thank God, in the course, but it didn't start out so well. I think I made a 70 on the first test. And I went to him and I said, look, I study so hard, why am I not getting this? And he found a different way to explain stuff to me, and it actually really clicked. I loved what he was teaching, and I went up to him one day after class and said, look, I've kind of looked into your research. I'd really like to start out in your lab and maybe do some work with you. And it started out, I filled tips and tubs, started out the bottom, washing dishes, helping people out in the lab here and there, until one day he called me into the office and said, how would you like your own project? And I remember walking out that day, and I called my dad on the phone, and I said, you'll never guess what happened today. Dr. Welsh asked me if I wanted my own project, and I was on cloud 9 for about a week. And from there it blossomed, and I ended up looking at the effects of stress on reproductive quality in horses, and I also looked at the effects of stress on carcass quality in cattle. And I was very fortunate. I got to be a part of some really interesting science. Well, when I kind of got into the lab and got some research experience, it captured my attention right away. It was something different every single day. Like I said, you could impact the producers, and develop techniques that they could actually implement in their everyday practices. And so from there, my PI, Dr. Tom Welsh, encouraged me to apply to graduate school. And so that is when I ended up applying to several different universities across the country. And I settled on MD Anderson with the mantra from my parents, go to the best university you possibly can for what you wanted to do. And I wanted to do cancer research because it is very personal. And that's how I ended up at MD Anderson.